Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Very good. Very nice to see you once again. Very
It,
happy to see everyone joining in. It's a pleasure.
it is wonderful to have you with us again. It's always a treat for me. I love getting to absorb and reflect the energy of these events that come when Jimmy is our guest. So welcome to everyone in the audience. I see we have some folks streaming in. If you could do me a favor and just drop a comment that you can see us and hear us, and maybe let us know where it is you're tuning in from today, so we can get a sense of our geographic distribution. I can tell it's later for you. I've got some morning sun coming in right now, Jimmy. It looks like
Mm.
you've got some
Oh
some
yeah,
waning light for you. Yeah,
I'm in Prague actually. The weather is not the best here. It's 6 p.m. here, but no complaints. Life is good. We make the most of what we
uh,
have.
wonderful. So we've got Prague represented, San Francisco, and Ludmilla from Germany. So I'm guessing
Nice.
that our audience can see us and hear us. That's good news. Um,
I go to
welcome
Germany a lot
everyone.
actually.
What's that?
I go to Germany a lot. So nice to see someone from Germany. Ludmila, pleasure.
Uh, any particular spots that you frequent,
Oh, I
like
like to go to
areas,
Berlin.
region? Mm,
Yeah, Berlin is great. I go to Würzburg a lot. My girlfriend lives there. Nuremberg.
nice.
The south of Germany is beautiful. The mountains are incredible. Have you been to Germany yourself?
I have. I've spent some time in Berlin. Didn't get to do too much exploring, but really fell in love with Berlin.
Mm.
Just thought it was such a cool city, and definitely was like, I need to come back here. And yeah, I've heard a lot about southern regions also being really beautiful. So, time definitely on the list to explore further. Um, oh, looks like we also have some folks from South Africa, Seattle, upstate New
Awesome.
York, Atlanta. That's where my gran lives. So we
Nice.
are we're representing lots of different corners of the world today, which is great because our topic is something that I think lots of folks all over the place have reason to be thinking a little bit more about these days than maybe we have in the past. Um, Before we dive into that, just a couple of quick notes for everyone. My name is Ashley. I'm with the Discover team at Teachable, and we are really excited to have you all today. Just so everybody knows, we get this question a lot. There will be a replay available. So everyone who registered for today's event, you'll get an email after our session that has a link to all of the wisdom that Jimmy shares with us today. You'll be able to replay it at your leisure.
But
You can
don't leave,
also,
please. Stick
well,
around if you are here.
yes, because there's some tantalizing elements of today's session that you want to be here live for. We also have the link to Jimmy's course pinned to the top of the YouTube page, so definitely check that out as we're kind of talking through some of what the extended version of this content is like. And
Just to
if
say
you,
something, Ashley. So even
yeah,
though
please.
we pinned the bundle in there, I'm not gonna be upselling here. Okay, so for those of you joining in, I'm gonna focus on the value. I'm gonna try to help you as much as I can. Of course, I'm just a human, right? I don't know everything. I
Mhm.
always perceive myself to be the white belt in this game of life. I will do my best. So there'll be focus on value, and then only at the end, I'm gonna mention what I have in there. But the entire presentation will be just pure value. I wanted to put it out there.
Pure value. Terrific. So, and I can say from having done events with Jimmy in the past that he's really a terrific person to learn this type of content from, because Jimmy started out on like a traditional kind of corporate path. You worked with lots of big name companies. Goldman Sachs, is that, am I remembering that right?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
Goldman in London. I did Allianz as well. But I knew very quickly it wasn't for me.
And
It
right,
didn't take me long.
and discovered very quickly, ooh, not my path. Turns out that what was in store for Jimmy was this this path toward entrepreneurship and helping others kind of discover and follow the paths that they maybe were more destined to pursue. So in addition to a kind of really terrific career as a serial entrepreneur, Jimmy's also devoted a lot of his time to educating and developing tools and resources for folks who want to pursue careers of passion and lifestyles that allow you to travel around the world. You know, we were just chatting about some of the places that Jimmy's visited. So really excited to hear today. And today we're specifically talking about how to build up your virtual presence, right? How to participate in. We're all doing so many more of these rectangular meetings, right? Where we're online, we're presenting in virtual contexts, and for some people, a lot, myself included, that it can be challenging to figure out how to be your most human self when you're trying to lead a meeting online or participate or present or do all these kinds of things virtually. So would love to hear a little bit, Jimmy, about how, as we kind of dive in, how this transition from, you know, lots of in-person pursuit of work into a more digital space where so many things are happening online. How has that been for you?
So actually, what I want to say here is that it's gonna be a bit more than that. So before we did one event just about the digital space, which obviously
Mm.
it is challenging. It is challenging. A lot of people struggle with getting on those Zoom calls, feel the heart beating really fast. You barely can utter a word because stress is consuming you. So I feel like a lot of people can resonate with this. But today specifically, I want to tackle confidence more holistically. So this will be a part of it. This will be a part of it. But what I want to do here today is I want to give you a strong foundation. So actually, I want to talk about mindset shifts. That's
Mm.
really important. At the same time, I want to talk about various strategies, and I want to give you some hacks, like quick fixes. And by the way, I don't believe in just one quick fix, and that's why I talk about strategies and mindset shifts as well. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just gonna learn a bunch of hacks and it's going to be fine. Well, if you really want to develop true confidence, you got to really work on other things as well, the foundational stuff. So today, actually, I would like to blend different things together. And
Perfect.
at the same time, I don't, as you can notice, I don't have a PowerPoint slide here. I typically, when I talk about those types of topics, I have certain structure, but I like to adjust as I go along based on the comments as well. I position all the windows here so I can see the comments. We have a 15-second delay, just so everyone knows. So forget me if I see, and actually if we both see with a delay, but I'm gonna do my best to customize it to your needs that pop up as we go along.
Perfect. So would love to have folks type into the chat is whether you're in, you know, spending a lot more work time in digital spaces or not. What is it that you would like to work on? Is there something in particular that you're wanting to cultivate about confidence? I'm seeing Deasim from, well, actually, I don't know if you mentioned where you're from, but mentioning confidence and using our bicep emoji to, you know, indicate, okay, strength and wanting to focusing on self-esteem, on strength, on presence, which sounds like, Jimmy, that's going to be the foundation of what we're talking
Mhm.
about today, which is
Yes.
terrific. Would love to hear from the rest of the folks in the audience. If you want to type in the chat, what's been your experience with this? Is this something, do you feel like you carry a full foundation of confidence and self-esteem in your daily work life? Is it something that you've been struggling with or working on? What is it that you're really hoping to get out of today?
Mhm.
Would love to hear from folks on that. And I'll pop off the screen so you all can chat with Jimmy, but we'll, like he said, we'll be monitoring the chat, and we'll make sure that we bring up any questions that come up. So definitely use that chat feature, and I'll turn it over to you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Perfect. So, in fact, it would be great if you can post comments with some keywords in terms of what you struggle with, what you need some help with. Everyone is different, but there are certain patterns out there. I noticed that a lot of people, surprisingly, develop confidence. They have it, they believe in themselves, and then COVID comes along, or maybe there is a breakup, or perhaps you lose your job or the business is going down, and that confidence is just being so diminished. And as you look in the mirror, you reminisce about your old self, and you would like to be that person, but you just can't summon that confidence, that self-esteem. So whatever your situation is, it would be great to see some comments, what you are exactly looking for, so I can adjust what we are talking about here. I see some comments here already. So Emerson says, I'd love to have more confidence to lean into my own creative projects rather than just taking what work I can get. Okay, this is something that I feel like a lot of people can resonate with. I deal with a lot of people who, they work as freelancers, but they want to start their own business. And they find it very difficult to take that leap because there is this internal dialogue of, well, at least now I have all of those different clients. I have lots of eggs in one basket. What if I focus on one thing and it's not going to work, right? So we can tackle that for sure. A lot of the strategies and mindset shifts I'm going to talk about will definitely help you. Um, what else do we have here? We have Ludmila who says, step into authenticity with confidence. How to deal with transition. Okay, authenticity is a big topic. You see, a lot of people have this misconception that confidence is just about being bulletproof. It's just about showing up and having no emotions, right? You walk into the room and you are this alpha person. But it's not about that. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of confident people who are very calm, who actually don't say a lot, right? Who are not out there like this, but there is this calm confidence about them. And I think authenticity is the key, right? So we will talk about it. We will talk about authenticity and vulnerability as well, because they are hugely connected. And I see Heidi Harris says, hey from Nashua, I want to believe in myself more. Perfect. Let's talk about that. Actually, this will be one of the first things that we will talk about. And by the way, as I go along, I would appreciate if you like something in particular, if I say something that you really resonate with, feel free to make comments. Let me know. I will keep, sometimes when I get into the flow, I may not look at the chat for a few minutes, but I'll keep monitoring the chat to kind of to feel the temperature in the room. So before we get into it, a few things about myself that's relevant to the topic of this presentation. I don't want to talk about my business. I don't want to talk about accomplishments. This is not relevant. This is not about me. It's about you today. But what I want to share with you, and I feel like this is really important, is that nowadays when I speak on big stages, when I do all types of deals, when I do presentations like this one, people often look at me and they say, even this happened today. Today we were interviewing a candidate for one of the jobs that we are offering here, and he actually said, I told him, look, I'm an introvert by nature. I actually used to be very shy and I used to struggle with a lot of things. He looked at me like, come on, no way, no way. So one thing that people don't realize is that confidence is not something that was always natural to me. It's something that I had to develop. It's something that I really struggled for a lot. So, to make the long story short, grew up in post-communist Poland. So my parents working their asses off as medical doctors, not making any money. Right back in Poland, as a doctor, you were really not making anything. Right, we were living in this little flat, infested with cockroaches. So from a very early age, I just learned that life can be tough. Life can be tough. You can be doing your best, but life can still slap you. On top of that, because my father comes from South America, my mom is Polish. I'm mixed race, right? So back in Poland, a lot of kids kept reminding me of it. I experienced a bit of racism in my life. And because of all of that, I always felt a bit like an outsider. I never felt this true sense of belonging. Then fast forward, I discovered personal development, started reading a ton of books, and I realized that you don't just have to accept the reality for what it is. You can actually take whatever reality you have and you can mold it to your will, right? Literally, you can bend it to your will, depending on what you want to get out of life. So that's what I started doing, and it wasn't easy, and it took. Thank you so much, by the way, Jose. Thank you. It took so much perseverance, right, and discipline to just keep going, but I kept doing it, and eventually I ended up building more and more confidence. I ended up changing my negative back then self-image, but it was a lot of work, and I even had a situation over 10 years ago when I run away from a stage. It was one of my first presentations, and not in the business. I was at university back then, maybe 11, 12 years ago. And I remember I was supposed to present in front of 70, 80, maybe 100 people, in order to entice them to join our organization. It was called ISEC. But I was just too stressed out. So I remember very vividly how I was waiting for my turn to get on a stage. And I felt okay. And at some point, 2, 3 minutes before, my heart started pounding, and I felt all this blood rushing into my head. And you can probably resonate with this because a lot of people have the same situations. And I literally realized that I'm having a full blown panic attack, right? If I ended up going to the front of the room, I would just pass out from fear. So what do you do in those situations? Well, you either freeze, you fight, or you run away, right? That's what it is. The fight, freeze, flight response. Guess what I did? I run away. I just run away. I literally pretended that I had stomach issues, and I run away from the room. I went to the toilet, and I was pretending the entire time that something was wrong with me. But in reality, I was just too afraid. I wasn't confident enough to go out there in front of all of those people, right? Now, eventually, I managed to go back in there. But the reason I'm sharing this story with you is so you know that all the things I'm talking to you about, it's not just something that I read in a bunch of books one day and I decided to share it with people out there. No, these are the things that I've been dealing with for many, many years. And I really spent a ton of time working, developing different concepts, pushing myself, consistently trying to push my comfort zone, getting better socially, improving my communication. No, English is not my first language. When I was 16, 17, my English was extremely poor. So I had to learn it myself. Um, and I'm telling you this because a lot of people assume that confidence is something that you are either born with or you don't have it. It's a talent, right? You have it or you don't have it. In reality is the reality is that confidence is a skill you can learn. And I know it may sound a bit strange to a lot of people. Skill? How can it be a skill? But really, confidence is a skill. You can learn it. And most people don't even try. Most people simply assume, well, this is who I am and I'm never going to get better. Okay. So, this is the first thing. It is important to recognize that confidence is something that you can and should develop. And I'm saying this, a lot of you watching this, especially after the replay, right? A lot of you may be thinking, well, yeah, there are a lot of confident people. I'm not confident, and I just think that I'm one of those lonely cases that has no hope. No, there is hope, and there is a way. There is a way. You just have to do the right things. So let's talk about the mindset shifts right away. We could tackle it from many different angles, but the way I like to do it is I like to first talk about the big picture, your mindset, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive the world. And once we have that foundation, then we can talk about different strategies. And then, of course, some of the hacks that you can just use right away to build your confidence. And by the way, let me check some comments before I keep going. I see some very good comments over there. Thank you. I appreciate it. So some of the comments I see, for example, Debbie is asking about books. These are the things I think will be better to tackle after the presentation. But please keep posting comments. I'm going to definitely look into them and I'm going to tackle them. So let's talk about the first mindset shift. Let's talk about not comparing yourself to other people. And when you really think about it, we all compare ourselves to other people a little bit, right? We all seek validation and approval to some extent. And every single individual, even people who seem extremely confident, have some type of fear of rejection. It's something that's deeply embedded in us. It's something that's hardwired. And it has to do with this old wiring. Back in the day when we were very tribal, if you got rejected by your tribe, that meant death, potentially death, right? If you have a tribe of 50 people and they all reject you, now you are on your own. literally you're on your own. You have to find your own shelter, you have to find your own food. If there is a dangerous animal, saber tooth tiger or some other crazy animal out there, right? Or maybe another tribe, now you got to defend yourself. You are just by yourself. So it's hardwired in our heads to be afraid of rejection. Even though nowadays, if you get rejected, for example, on a stage or during a video call like this, or maybe a business gathering, well, nothing will really happen to you. You will not die, right? There is no physical harm that will happen to you. But again, the wiring is still there. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about this concept of overcoming this fear of rejection and also not seeking approval and validation of other people. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is that whenever you compare yourself to other people, you are actually comparing your imperfect, holistic self with that little angle, with that little mask of another person, right? For example, you may be watching this and you may be thinking, okay, this guy, Jimmy, I don't know him, but he seems pretty confident. It seems like he has it figured out, right? He's traveling the world, runs different businesses. It seems like his life is very easy, almost effortless, right? The reality is that, well, I have my own issues, right? Relationships issues, sometimes health issues, right? Business issues. I'm just a human. But of course, we are not talking about those things right now. So it's very easy to have an illusion that my life is perfect, right? Traveling the world, doing what I want to do, building businesses, confident, great. But this is not how life works. And I'm giving you this example because oftentimes when we look at other people, we just see that one side of them. We see the polished side, quote unquote, right? We don't see all the baggage. We don't see the insecurities. We don't see the weaknesses. We don't see all the failures. We don't see their past. But at the same time, when we look at ourselves, we see ourselves for who we really are with everything, not just with good things, but also with all the failures, with the insecurities that are holding us back sometimes, right? So when you look at yourself holistically, when you remember all of the times where things didn't work out for you, or all the times when you wanted to do something, you committed to something, and then you didn't do it. You made a promise to yourself or to other people, but you didn't do it. When you compare this to that one perfect angle of another person, you will never win that battle. So that's why comparing ourselves to other people never makes any sense. It never makes any sense because you are not actually comparing to people. In order to compare to people, you have to do it holistically. If you just look at that mask of another person and your full self, this is not a comparison. And this is one of the biggest traps that people fall into. A lot of people, especially empaths, people who feel a lot of empathy, people who are very aware, what often happens to those people, and I'm one of them, we walk into a situation and we preoccupy ourselves with what other people think about us, how we are perceived by others. Whenever we say something, how will it sound in the ears of other people? So it's very easy to put so much focus on performers, right? What to do to perform at your best. And that pressure ends up dwarfing you. So again, keep reminding yourself of this very basic concept that there's no point of comparing yourself to other people because it's never a full comparison. Now, another thing is seeking approval and validation. You may seek approval and you may be an ideal person. You may do everything in your power to help others. You could sell everything you own and you could donate it to the charity. You could literally live your life by the book, and there still will be people who will not accept you. There still will be people who will not like who you are. And a lot of people have a problem with that. But I feel like the moment we accept the fact that no matter what we do, we will not be accepted by everyone, is the moment of liberation. Because we realize that if we seek approval and validation, it's a losing game right from the get-go. You can never win this game. So the moment you realize you can never win this game, all the pressure goes away. All the pressure goes away. You realize that it's better just to be yourself. If you can't please everyone, you may as well be yourself. And by being yourself, you will attract people who actually resonate with you. You want to polarize. And Ashley before mentioned digital space, right? A lot of people struggle, and this is just an example. A lot of people struggle with digital gatherings, doing all types of Zoom business calls. They're afraid what people think about them. The way I see it, and this is something that gives me a lot of confidence when I do business gatherings, is that whenever I jump on a call or whenever I meet someone in person, I'm not just thinking, what can I do to be liked by that person? What can I do to get approval? I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to provide as much value as possible within this interaction, whether it's business or personal? What can I do to provide as much value as possible authentically, right? Without losing my authenticity, right? While being myself, while being true to who I am. Knowing that if that's what I do, well, if that person or group of people is meant to work with me, they will. If they are not meant to work with me, if we are not aligned, it's going to show right away. It saves everyone some time. Okay. How do you feel about it so far? I know we have a bit of a delay. I think it's a 15-20 second delay. I'm just going to check some comments here. Thank you for the comments, by the way. I appreciate it. It's always nice to see comments. For those of you watching this on a replay, feel free to post comments as well. In fact, don't feel free, just post them. Post comments whenever you watch it, whenever there is something that really makes you think. I want you to post a comment. If you have any questions, post questions. Later on, in a few days from now, I'm going to go back into this video and I'm going to respond to those comments. And I may even use some of those comments to make some extra footage on my social media. You can follow me, by the way, on @Naraine on Instagram. And what I'm going to do is, if I see some really good questions, I may do another little live, or I may do some story and answer some of those questions. Ludmila says, great point, Jimmy. Decide that you don't need to be liked by everyone and you will free yourself. Yeah, 100%. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. It's one of those things that it's easy to talk about it, not that easy to do. So now you may be wondering, okay, how do we actually do it? Well, it's definitely easier to embrace this mindset once you build a strong foundation of actually believing in yourself, believing in who you are, appreciating yourself for who you are as a person. So rather than constantly underestimating yourself and overestimating everyone around, you look at yourself and you can truthfully say, you know what? I'm not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect, but I am a human and I'm good the way I am. I am good enough. I am good enough. I have the right to be respected by others. I have the right to be loved because I am good enough already the way I am. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to accomplish anything. In my true essence, I am good enough. Now, you may ask, how do I do it? Well, obviously there are lots of different strategies, and we could turn this call into a 20-hour seminar, going really deep. There are all types of interesting exercises. But one thing I want to give you right away, because I want to make sure that I give you value right here and now. Okay, that's my goal here. I want you to come out of this call having certain mindset shift, but at the same time having something tangible that you can implement right away. So one of my favorite exercises, and if you've been following me, you may have heard about it, is why I'm great list. And why I'm great list is essentially about listing all of the things that you appreciate about yourself or you could appreciate about yourself. And I say it because a lot of people say automatically, well, I don't like myself that much. There's nothing good about myself. Forget about it. What if you had to find something that you could appreciate about yourself, that you could be proud of? What would it be? And I encourage you, whether you're watching this live or on a replay, I encourage you that you start writing some of those things down right now as we go along. Just write a couple of things because this way you will start the momentum. And typically, what happens is people write down a few things and then they get stuck. They get stuck because they are not opening up their minds enough. What I want you to do is I want you to think about various situations. I want you to think about your characteristics. Why are you a good person? What makes you a good person? Also, want you to think about maybe some of your accomplishments that you are proud of. I want you to think about maybe specific situations, how you helped somebody. Maybe your friend was in trouble and you helped that person. Whatever it is, think about all types of situations. Now, in addition to it, what I want you to do is I want you to think about all the impossibilities that became your reality. And I'm saying this because we all had situations in our lives when we looked at something, we looked into the future, and certain things didn't seem possible. Think about it. I'm sure you can resonate. I'm sure you had moments when you were looking into the future. You're like, I want to do that one thing, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's not possible. And it could be maybe getting a job, maybe building a new business. Perhaps you saw someone that you really liked and you wanted to go on a date with them. Could be anything like this. And at some point, those things seem impossible. Yet, right now, they are your reality, right? But how often do we give ourselves the credit for those things? For example, now as I'm talking about it, and whenever I talk about it, a lot of different things pop into my mind. I'm a very visual person. So my brain works in a weird way. Whenever I talk, I see visuals just bombarding me from different sides. So I wish I could give you a glimpse into what's happening in my head. So when I share examples, when I talk about various things, I see images. And as I'm talking about it, I can see myself back in Poland, not speaking English. I can see myself running away from that stage. I can see myself going to one of my first ever networking business events where I was so terrified. I decided not to hold the glass of champagne because my hand was shaking. And I didn't want people to see how my hand was shaking. So I'm like, okay, let me keep my hands in my pockets. So I go back to those times, or for example, becoming a member of Mind Valley, right? And thinking, wow, one would be cool to one day be their official author, right? And right now, all of those things are just my normal life, right? I am a Mind Valley author. I go to different events. I speak on stages. I feel great in my own skin. I run different projects, and it's very easy to forget that what I may be taking for granted right now, one day back in the day, seemed impossible. And I know for a fact that you have those things in your life that seemed impossible that right now you are taking for granted. So I want you to write those things down because it's going to help you with appreciating how powerful you already are as a person. And what I want you to do is, I want you to keep expanding the list every single day. Add something every single day. And then whenever you have a situation, whether it's in the digital world, maybe it's the real world, you have to go and meet someone or you have to present, whatever it is, and you feel like you need a boost of confidence, you need that boost of self-belief. And a lot of you talked about building self-belief, right? When you need that, you go back to your list, you read through it, and you feel the emotions. And I have to tell you, I know it sounds very simple. It may sound overly simplistic, but when you do it, you will feel incredible. You'll feel incredible because a lot of our internal dialogue is negative, right? We all have internal dialogue. A lot of people think, well, I don't talk to myself. That's crazy. Of course you do. Everyone does, right? I talk to myself. Even right now, as I'm talking to you, part of me is talking to myself. We all have that internal dialogue. Now, the problem happens when your internal dialogue is negative, when most of the things you say to yourself are negative. I'm not good enough. Why would this work for me? How can I possibly make it happen? I'm not good enough. I'm not skilled enough to make this happen. Why would those people want to talk to me? I'm not good enough. I'm not a good conversationalist. I don't know how to introduce myself properly. Like I'm hopeless. A lot of people keep hearing those negative things, and guess what? When you keep engaging in this negative internal dialogue on a daily basis, over time, it may become your reality. It may negatively shape your self-image. So what we want to do is we want to pay attention to that. And by the way, the exercise I gave you will already help with that. But what we want to do is we want to really pay attention to shaping our internal dialogue and taking all the negative things and catching them as they come and then bam, transforming them into something positive, right? So it's almost like when you have a negative internal dialogue, let's say you go into a business gathering and that little voice whispers to you, hey, you are not good enough. Why would those people take you seriously? You have to get good at catching yourself saying those things and then reframing them right away. And literally, sometimes it's good to say it out loud. No, I am good enough and I have a lot to offer, and those people will love what I have to say, right? Now, when you say it out loud, you can override the negativity that's popping up in your head. Is it easy? No, it's not easy, right? I'm not trying to sell you on some idea of magic pill. You will quadruple your confidence in 24 hours. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. It's a I would say it's a never-ending process. You can make huge progress in a short period of time, but it's a never-ending process. But you can do it if you control, if you try to be more conscious of that internal dialogue. If you if you reframe it, whenever something negative pops into your head, you try to reframe it, you'll become better and better at doing it, and that's going to impact your entire self-image. How are you guys feeling so far? I hope that this is valuable. I'm just checking some comments. Again, we have a delay, so bear with me if you're posting. I'll see it after 50 minutes. Why I'm great, love the idea. My pleasure. Very happy to hear this. Um, this is great. Thank you. Thank you for your messages. And thank you, Ashley. I see you're posting some notes here. Debbie says, being kind to yourself is the most important key to help you move forward. I agree with you. I agree with you. And it's interesting. I don't remember who said it first. I guess probably a lot of people said it first at the same time. But someone said that, um, how can you be so rough on yourself if you so let me put it this way. When you speak to yourself in a harsh, in a rough manner, you got to ask yourself a question: would you speak like this to a friend or a family member, right? So when you mentally punch yourself in the face and you tell yourself all of those negative things, I'm not good enough, I won't be able to make it happen, I don't deserve it, would you say it to a friend? Would you say it to your child? Would you say it to your mom or dad? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. So then why would you say it to yourself? And I think it's a really interesting reframe. So Debbie, thank you for mentioning this because it just sparked my memory here. But yes, working on your internal dialogue is extremely important. Another thing I want to talk to you about is creating a really strong identity. Identity is something that's really powerful if you work on it. So my identity back in the day was very negative. Whenever I close my eyes, if someone asked me, "Hey, who are you? Who's Jimmy Naraine?" I would think, well, Jimmy Naraine is a poor, skinny, Polish kid with crooked teeth who doesn't have much money, who is always an outsider. That's what I would say. That's what I was thinking and feeling viscerally, right? But over the years, I realized that, well, I can either accept that identity or I can consciously shape it. I can take conscious action and decide, okay, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to try to make it better. So what you want to do is you want to design a powerful identity for yourself. Now, the important thing is you want to design it in such a way where it's going to be very aspirational. So for example, if a part of your identity is that you want to be a disciplined, confident person who always gets things done and gets a lot of trust from people, you may think, well, but I'm not there yet. This cannot be my identity because I'm not disciplined and I have a long way to go. It doesn't matter. You want to create an identity that's very aspirational, that's something that you may not be yet, realistically speaking, looking objectively at your life right now, but it's your northern star. It's out there. It's something that you want to become. But rather than saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, you turn it into your identity right now. And that allows you to slowly but surely start changing how you perceive yourself as a person. And as you become more as that person that you really want to be, it will be easier for you to get the things that you really want to get. So to give an example of my personal life, um, my identity from the past, right? Poor little Polish kid, right? Skinny, crooked teeth, all of that. So now my identity is that I'm a Spartan leader and I'm here on this planet to change the lives of millions of people. And by the way, I'm happy to go through any pain, any discomfort to make it a reality, right? That's my identity, right? This is what I have in my head. If you wake me up in the middle of the night and you ask me, hey, so Jimmy, what's your identity? I'll mumble, hey, I'm a Spartan leader and I'm here to change millions of lives. Okay. So it's deeply ingrained in my brain. And because of this, whenever I say it, because I feel so strongly about it, it fuels me with power. It fuels me with confidence. Whenever I have something important to do, a big presentation, a client meeting, I go on a live call. anything that may push comfort zone a little bit, I just have to remind myself, hey, I'm a Spartan leader. I'm here to change millions of lives. And whenever I think about it, I realize, wow, if I'm a Spartan leader and if I'm willing to go through any discomfort and pain to change millions of lives, why would I be afraid? Why would I feel uncomfortable? All of those emotions are redundant. What I have to focus is given value, purely given value, and that's it. And when you focus on that, you feel confident, right? You feel confident. You're not stuck in your own head. You focus on providing value. I hope this is helpful. And what I recommend you to do is, after watching this, I really recommend that you take a piece of paper, you take a pen, and you design a perfect identity for yourself. What is your identity? Who do you want to become as a person? Make it two to, I would say, three, maybe four sentences. Make it powerful. Look, it doesn't have to make sense to other people, it has to make sense to you. If I tell other people that I'm a Spartan leader, they may not get it. Why Spartan? What does it have to do with anything? It doesn't matter. It means something to me. And that's important, right? When I say I'm a Spartan leader, it creates this emotional response in my own head. And this is what matters. So make sure that you work on your identity. Now, let's shift gears a little bit. And I really hope you're going to do this exercise, but let's shift gears and talk a little bit about body language. Okay, so now we are moving more into strategies and short term hacks that, of course, will also help you long term if you do them consistently. But one of the things is body language. Body language is extremely important. You know, a lot of how we feel comes from our body language. And it's interesting because so many people get it wrong. So many people think that um, it's all about how you talk to yourself, it's all about identity, it's all about the internal dialogue. And of course, those things are important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be discussing them here. But we cannot underestimate the power of what we do with our body. Now, what usually happens is when you don't feel very confident, it shows in your body language. If you attend a meeting, we are in a boardroom now. Like it's like one of those mini boardrooms, right? We had a meeting here the other day. And imagine you have a bunch of people, and let's say you are trying to negotiate a deal, but you don't feel very confident. Maybe you didn't sleep well, maybe the negative internal dialogue kicked in. How do you sit? Are you sitting like this? Are you sitting like this? Are you gesticulating? Probably not. You feel negative, you don't feel very confident, you're probably slouching a bit, right? Either slouching or you may be crossing your arms, you may be like this. And guess what, you're doing this because you don't feel very confident, but because you are doing it, now you have even less confidence, you feel even less defensive, sorry, more defensive. So what may happen is you don't feel confident, you embrace the close position, you slouch a bit, you feel even less confident, you may even close off more. So now you feel even less confident and more sleepy. And eventually, you may get into this cocoon where you have zero confidence and also you project zero confidence. And this is a problem. This is a problem. And I see this happening all the time. I used to have this issue myself, but obviously I learned how to catch myself doing those things. So it is important that whenever you don't feel at your best, whenever you, for example, sit like this, you don't feel at your best, you feel a bit negative, you don't have that self-belief, you are scared, maybe the situation is um really difficult, really challenging, you have to snap out of it, right? Snap out of it. Remember to open up. Remember, if you're sitting down, sit straight, open up, don't cross your arms, right? Keep your head held up high, maintain eye contact, gesticulate. I know that gesticulation may seem really awkward at the beginning. I know that a lot of people have difficulties with, what do I do with my hands, right? I'm here, I'm presenting, or I'm doing some type of business gathering. What do I do with those things? How, well, it feels awkward, right? It feels awkward. You don't know where to put your hands. You do this, then you realize, oh yeah, this is defensive, I should open up, but if you do this, then it feels weird. I get it, but it is important that you practice it, and it is important that whenever you catch yourself embracing the negative body language, you just open up. And even right now, as you're watching this, What I want you to do is I want you to slouch a little bit, right? Let you do this, slouch, cover yourself up like this, look down, and just breathe in a shallow manner through your chest, right? Just regular shallow breathing through your chest. How confident do you feel? How powerful do you feel? How charismatic do you feel? And also, on the flip side, how do I look like now? Do I look charismatic? Do I look powerful? Do I look like a person that you should trust with my crossed arms? Probably not, right? Looks like this guy is hiding something. He doesn't want to tell us the truth, right? That's how it looks like. What about now? What about now, right? We open up, sit straight, open up like this, show my palms, and breathe deeply from my diaphragm. How does it look like now in terms of my confidence? Way more confident, right? Way more charismatic, way more powerful. Now, when you do it yourself, I want you to ask yourself, how do I feel now? And I'm sure that you will feel way better. So, body language is one of those things that is extremely easy to implement. You can implement literally right away as we speak, and it's going to give you tremendous benefits both in short term but also in long term. Because as you keep catching yourself using negative body language, as you keep adjusting it, eventually it will just become a part of who you are. And you'll realize that you can impact your emotional state and mental state using your physicality, essentially. I hope this is helpful so far. Let me know, post comments. I see some comments in here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad you are really enjoying this. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's keep going into it. Okay, we talked about body language. Let's talk about another thing. Let's talk about a little strategy, a little trick, hack, I should say, for making yourself feel more comfortable in really, really uncomfortable situations. Okay. So if you have those moments when you want to present, or you're about to attend a job interview, or a business negotiation, or you're about to go on a date, and you feel like, wow, there's no way I can make it happen. My heart is beating too fast. I'm sweating. I cannot think straight. I can't handle it. If you have those situations, you're going to love what I'm about to tell you. Okay. I'm going to give you a really cool strategy. And it has to do with pushing your comfort zone a little bit before you have that huge comfort zone push. So to preface it, comfort zone is like cold water, right? When you jump into cold water, not sure how many of you do Wim Hof. I personally love to do ice baths. So if you ever jumped into cold water, you know that at the beginning there's this shock, right? You jump in and you start breathing really fast. You start hyperventilating. It's the natural response of your organism, right? Your organism wants to preserve itself. So you start breathing rapidly and erratically, and you just feel extremely cold. You're shaking. But what's going to happen when you come out of that water and then you jump again, and then you jump again and again? Well, eventually you just adjust to that new environment, right? At some point, that water doesn't seem that cold anymore. Now, my question is, does it mean that the temperature of the water has shifted? No, it's the same water, the same temperature, but your perception of the temperature has completely changed. So it's interesting. Sometimes with ice baths, I have this situation where I jump in, I feel extremely cold, but after 5, 7, 8 minutes, it feels incredible. I actually feel amazing. It feels warm in a weird way. So let's tie this back to confidence and uncomfortable situations. When you are embracing something that creates a lot of discomfort, and if you jump right into it, what happens is that you go from complete comfort to complete discomfort, right? The jump is extremely high. You feel very comfortable, and suddenly, bam, you feel uncomfortable. This is way too big, right? The discrepancy is huge. It's very difficult to feel confident and comfortable when you go from here to here. And that's what most people do. Most people, when they have a presentation to give, they prepare And then they simply go to the room and they try to present. If they have a business negotiation, well, they work on their laptops and the alarm goes off. Okay, we have a meeting in 5 minutes, and they go to the room. They never do anything to, first of all, get themselves into the winner state, but also to make that water a bit warmer. Remember when I talked about cold water, the analogy of comfort zone? You want to make that cold water feel warmer. So what you want to do is, rather than going from total comfort to total discomfort, you want to bridge that gap, right? You want to put like a ladder here, right? You wouldn't want to jump up a really high fence. You want to have a ladder. So what you want to do is, whenever you have some type of event, meeting, whatever it is, that is really uncomfortable, you want to do something that's also uncomfortable before that big event, big meeting, big situation, right? So to give you a very concrete example, if you are given a massive presentation in your company, maybe at 6 p.m. tomorrow, you don't just want to go about your day in a regular way and then roll up to the presentation room and start delivering. What you want to do is, you want to find ways to push your comfort zone throughout the day in order to create that ladder. So when you jump into that uncomfortable situation, the water will feel warm. So, for example, what you can do is, you can do a live video on your social media. If this is something that scares you a little bit, you could do that. You could also schedule another uncomfortable but less uncomfortable meeting right before the presentation, right? You could perhaps introduce yourself to a group of strangers and feel some of those butterflies in your stomach. You could do many different things. What I'm trying to say is that you want to do uncomfortable things in the lead up to that big presentation. So you continuously push your comfort zone. So eventually, when you go into the presentation room and you get on a stage, you feel like the water is warm. It's not a big deal. You are in the warm water. You feel comfortable. You feel confident. Hey, this is not a big deal. I've been there before. One example and one idea I give to a lot of speakers is that whenever they attend a big conference, I always recommend them to be in the audience first. And when someone else is speaking, at the end, just ask a question. Just ask for the microphone. You know, when at the end of speeches, usually there's a Q&A round, and the speaker says, do you have any questions? Hey, you can literally raise your hand, take the microphone, ask a question. But by asking a question on the microphone, you're already pushing your comfort zone. Your heart is beating faster. You get out of your comfort zone, but just momentarily. You get that little feeling, and then you get to relax. So then, when you are the one getting on a stage, it doesn't feel so foreign. It doesn't feel so unknown. All right. Um, Everyone has a different situation, naturally. Each one of you, as we saw right at the beginning, we have people from the States, from Germany, from I believe Egypt, from South Africa. We've got people from all over the place. So each one of you is going for a different path in this life. You have different set of circumstances, different situations, but you can design those types of, so whenever you know you will be embracing something really uncomfortable, you can design your own lead up to that situation in order to feel better about everything and about yourself as well. I hope this is helpful. I'm aware of the time. This is one of those topics that we could talk about for a very, very long time. But just one more thing I want to mention very briefly before Ashley jumps back on board. And I'm not sure if you will have the time for some questions. But one really important thing I want to mention as well is the morning ritual. Um, Having a morning ritual, having some type of practice is extremely important. It's probably one of the easiest things to implement right away. The reason is that as you wake up in the morning, if you just go through the day on autopilot, you're very likely to be in the reactive mode. You're very likely to just react to life and react to all types of situations. And because of that, you are more likely to embrace this negative internal dialogue and just look at the world through a negative lens. But if you have a powerful morning ritual, it could be something short, it could be something simple. But if you take initiative to do something in the morning for yourself, not for everyone else, but for yourself, whether it's a bit of physical exercise, stretching, meditation, reviewing your vision, your goals, maybe doing a gratitude list. It could be one of those things, could be a sum of those things. It depends on your situation, what time you wake up. Of course, we are all different. But if you do some of it each morning, then you start your days in a proactive way. And guess what? Confident people, successful people are proactive. So what happens is that right from the beginning, as you start your day, you send a signal to your brain that basically says, look, I'm proactive. I take charge of my life. I am in control. I'm not just sleepwalking through life, but I am in control. And that in itself will make you feel more confident. It's going to make you feel more in charge throughout the day. Okay, this is just something I wanted to put out there. But I'm aware that literally in 3 minutes we will have done a full hour. So for now, this is it. I hope that you enjoyed it. I try to give you as much as possible from different angles. I try to tackle mindset shifts. I try to give you some medium term strategies. And of course, I try to give you some little hacks that you can implement literally right away. Hope this is valuable. I appreciate all the comments over there. I see, especially you, Ludmila and Debbie, you're super active. I really appreciate it. I see a few other people in there. So thank you so much for your time. I hope this is valuable. You can find me on Instagram just at Jimmy Naraine. I use my full name everywhere. So if you type in Jimmy Naraine, you can find me everywhere. And I just want to say that I do appreciate your time because there's so many distractions nowadays, and it will be so easy to go in and watch Netflix or watch a bunch of random YouTube cat videos. But you, out of all the people, made a decision that you will take this 1 hour to work on this, to work on yourself. And I respect you for that. And I thank you for joining me here.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Always chock full of so much helpful information. And we have a lot of folks mentioning in the comments um, feeling inspired and motivated to be proactive in establishing those morning routines and developing that aspirational identity. We've had a couple folks kind of note those in the comments, which I think is really great to see. Uh, and also Emerson mentioning, oh, I wish we could do this every Thursday, which, there is an element of what you suggested, um, in terms of body language and establishing a morning routine and doing these small things that ultimately help you kind of build into your own body and mind the identity that you want to carry throughout your day. So maybe, Emerson, it is taking some time every Thursday to revisit this conversation and figure out and see what sticks out to you on any given day, because there are so many it's such a journey. There are so many different ways that you can approach this content that Jimmy just shared, and so many different ways that you can work on it. And you never know, you might find something particularly challenging one day, and then the next Thursday you feel more confident in that area, and instead you want to focus on something else. So thank you, Jimmy, for this gift that keeps on giving.
My pleasure.
Really,
And by the way, it's really difficult sometimes because as we are doing those calls, usually when I get to the 1 hour mark, I'm thinking, wow, I'm really in the flow. This is like I have so many things I want to share.
just keep going.
It's almost like, and especially when I see the comments, I see keywords, and I'm like, whoa, we could talk for 1 hour just about that. So
Yeah.
so it's challenging sometimes to to finish those calls because there's a lot that can be said. And I think working on confidence is extremely important, especially in those times. You mentioned at the beginning, right? That the times of COVID, a lot of people have been on a lockdown. I met a ton of people here, for example, in
Yeah.
Prague. And by the way, for the record, I don't live in Prague. I just do one of the businesses here, so I come here a lot. But a lot of people here told me very openly, lockdown was really terrible, and
Yeah.
some people developed social anxiety, and before they were very social, and now just going into an environment full of people just it creates this tremendous anxiety in their
Right.
stomach. So I get it, and I think it's important to talk about those types of topics, important to talk about all types of psychological issues, because most people, I would actually argue that all of us at some point experience so issues like this, whether it's the
Yeah.
death of a family member, or a breakup, or losing a job or business. We all go through this, but we all try to act so tough, and we all try to kind of pretend that everything's fine. I feel great. Uh, this is not how life works, and I think
Right.
the more we talk about it openly, the just talking about it makes you feel better. So for those of you
Yep.
watching this, if you struggle with any of those challenges, sometimes even sharing this with a friend, or if you don't feel comfortable, maybe even telling your friends now, even sharing with a stranger. Sometimes actually easier to share those things in a chat here on a live call. um,
Definitely.
or talking to somebody online, right? But just getting things off your chest in itself can be very healing. Anyhow, I'm
Mm.
gonna stop now because I can already see my brain has like 10 different threads that I could go into right now. But obviously we we have limited time here.
Well, we'll just have to save it for next time. That's all. But I definitely know what you mean, and I think you're absolutely right in that. And we saw in the comments one of our Heidis, and we have a couple Heidis, but one of our Heidis was mentioning, being a caretaker for her father for many years, and when he passed away, that shifted her role, and now she's trying to find confidence in what her new identity is. So, and I think that's just a great illustration of the point that you're making, Jimmy, which is that everybody experiences a shift in a role that they play, whether it's as a partner, as an employee, what, as a friend, where things change, and that can shake our confidence. And sometimes we feel like we're at square one, and
Yeah.
being able to kind of build this foundation that you've helped to lay out is a really important skill that you will need at different points in your life, no matter how confident you become in maybe presentation skills. Right, there are other areas where we need to employ those skills. So I know we're out of time, and I just want to point everyone to the link to Jimmy's course if you want to learn more from him. That link is pinned to the top of the YouTube page, and I put it there in the chat. Is there anything that you want to say about the course, Jimmy? Just kind of maybe what you dive into there that we didn't get a chance to talk about
Yeah,
today?
so it's a bundle. It's a if
Mm.
unless we have a bit of a mix up, which would be fine as well. But I created a bundle because we had to reschedule. I was sick, so we needed to
Mm.
reschedule this call. Um, I created a bundle with three different confidence courses, right? So one of them
Very cool.
goes deep into core confidence, so building that foundation. The second one is about digital confidence, which is really important nowadays, right? How to develop the confidence so when you have calls like this one, or you have a Zoom negotiation, or
Mm.
you go into a room, digital room full of people, and you don't expect to speak, and someone asks you something, and now you have to, whoa, I need to turn on the camera, I need to speak. How not to freak out, how to manage those situations, how to introduce yourself, how to present yourself in the online space. All of that is in that course. And then finally, and this is one of the topics that a lot of people have been asking me about, how to be assertive. Assertiveness is a huge part of being confident. A lot of people don't realize that by saying yes to something, they are automatically saying no to another thing. And
Mm.
we often fall into this trap. And this goes hand in hand with lack of confidence, because if you don't truly believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your self-worth, then people can very easily impose on you, because they tell you, well, can you do this or can you do that? And you don't want to have this confrontation. You don't want to have the negative vibe. You're afraid what's going to happen next. So the easiest thing is just to say, sure, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then later
Emerson's
on,
point from earlier, right? Saying wanting
mhm,
to be not wanting to say yes to all the work that he can get, but instead to kind of proactively choose his own creative projects. Exactly.
exactly,
Yeah.
100%. So it is important to know that doing something means not doing another thing. And
Right.
sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish to be generous. So the entire course, the third one, is about assertiveness, how to develop it, but how to do it in an authentic way, how to do it in a classy way, right? So for example, how to give tough feedback, what to do when somebody imposes on you, and how to actually communicate to those people that you disagree with them while allowing them to maintain their phase and while maintaining a good vibe. These are really tricky dynamics to navigate through, but there is a way to navigate through them. And in that particular course, I try to make it as simple as possible while tackling the full spectrum of challenges. So in the bundle, you get free courses. I think everyone will be shocked by the price. You know, right now, the revenue from courses is not my main source of revenue. This is just one of the things that I do. So I never really believed in this idea of selling those $1,000 to $5,000 courses. I like volume. I like impact. I want to know that one day in the future I wake up looking back thinking I may have not made much money per each person I taught, but I taught tens of millions of people, right? That's kind of
Mm,
my approach. So I think you will be surprised. But at the same time, when you see the landing page, if you don't resonate with it, don't get it. Get it only if you resonate with it, right? If you, for whatever reason, you look into those courses and you don't fully resonate, you're not sure, go to my social media. That's for free. Spend more time delving into my content and see if you feel comfortable and if you resonate with my teaching style. If this is something that you feel like could bring you a lot of value, then I'm going to be very excited to see you on the inside.
terrific. And I'm dropping the Jimmy's handle in the chat right now. And like I mentioned at the top of the event, we will have a replay available of this session. So if you want to go back and revisit, Dan or Emerson was saying you wanted to do it every Thursday, you can come back and just kind of, revisit some of the tips that Jimmy laid out and see what resonates with you the most at any given time. So you'll get an email with that link in it from the Discover team. So stay tuned for that. You also have the ability to sign up for Jimmy's course through the page here. So check that out. And like Jimmy said, follow what feels like it resonates with you the most, and check out the rest of his work. I appreciate, Jimmy, all that you shared with us. Very there's lots of generosity of spirit, both coming from your wisdom and from the audience here, who we have a lot of folks who are wanting to build up confidence because the work that they want to do is very generous for others. So I think that's a great starting point. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you back here next time. Jimmy, hope that you'll come back and join us again.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. As I said, you could be doing so many different things, and you being here is the living proof that you really take your self-improvement very seriously. So thank you for that. And make sure that you go ahead and implement all the things that I've been talking about, because a lot of people think that just by watching a video or just by watching a live presentation, they can make massive changes. And yes, just listening will help you by itself to some extent. But if you really want to create a massive change, you just got to take consistent action. So you can pick and choose the strategies and mindset shifts that you most resonated with. You can rewatch this video as well, and then just focus on those. But make sure you pick something and make sure that you get started. So thank you so much, and till next time.
Take care, everyone.